What's up, Sick?
God damn it, man. I still love that freaking theme song.
You like the intro? Yeah, I kind of like it too. So this is Anything Goes Tuesday. Thank you for showing up. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. I really don't have any. Well, I kind of do have some subjects to talk about and some things that people already talked about in the past, but I don't really care because I do like once a week thing and it's fun. I don't care, right?
Right.
So who cares? You may have more stuff to talk about than I do, and that's why I have you here, because I know you can fill in the gaps that I don't have.
All right.
So what are you up to? What have you been playing? What have you been doing?
What have I been doing? I've been working. And then slowly amassing the parts for my new PC build. I've been tweeting about that. You can see the CPU, the motherboard, all that stuff. I'm just waiting on
anything massive or just kind of like middle range.
Oh no, I went pretty high end. I got I got one of those new Intel chips. I got the highest end i7. What do you call the 12700K?
Yeah.
I didn't get an i9. The only difference between those is the little it has more of those efficiency cores for like a huge like $300 more, but the difference between them isn't really much. So it didn't validate the increase. But the motherboard, I got a Gigabyte one, but that would be my third one in a row. Gigabyte's really been a brand that I really like, and I'm usually happy with. But just before that, I was planning to get an Asus until I saw a video from 11 Techs, and he did a video about this Gigabyte motherboard. I'm like, holy crap, this motherboard does everything I want. It's a brand I've been messing with. I'll get that one instead. It was slightly cheaper, so that definitely made it the one to get. But yeah, I just need to get the RAM. The CPU cooler is supposed to be here on Thursday, but like I've been tweeting out all the parts as I get but even the CPU cooler I already had tweeted about which one I wanted. I haven't gotten it yet. It's supposed to come Thursday, as I said. After that, I just need to get the RAM, and then I can get to building.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it's fun when you build those computers, because my latest one, the one I'm using right now for this, I built it myself, and I don't buy desktops anymore, like branded, pre-built. Yeah. I just do it myself.
Yeah.
It's just more fun like that, and it's just better. You get the better parts that you want.
Yeah, I was doing that for a long time. In fact, in 2005, when I moved up here to Pennsylvania, I went to school at the same time. So I needed a new machine, particularly for the school reason. I had classwork in networking and stuff. I needed a more updated computer.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Even though normally I would have had built one at the time, I just didn't have time for that. I built it. I just moved into a new house.
Yeah.
Doing all types of stuff. I just got a new heating and cooling system, the heat pumps and new vents and everything. So, and at the same time, I'm trying to to sign up for classes and to go to work and to go to class and to deal with a house, man. I didn't have time to build the PC the way I wanted. So I bought a Dell, dude. I bought a Dell. But the Dell was pretty badass for the time. And it had, like PCI Express when everybody was selling AGP and stuff like that. But this is not really the computer podcast, but yeah, man. Usually I build my own, but there was that one time when I was way too busy to do anything else but to buy one, straight from Dell. I customized the parts I want. At least I didn't just pick a default model or anything.
Right.
Man, it would have saved me a lot of money to build my own. But nowadays, that's not even really the case anymore. That's not really the case anymore. Like if you're really, really not into it, and it's not your thing to build your own PC, it's better off to get it from one of these manufacturers. Just do your homework though, so you get a good one. Because Dell and HP and all of them will give you a clunker if you let them. But they also have great models if you pick right. And and the benefit there would be if there's something wrong with it, it's not on you. This
on
PC
them.
build I'm doing, if something is wrong with it, that's going to be on me to figure it out. And if it's a part that I bought, hopefully it's not something that I did to mess it up, to mess up the part, because there's some talk about that with Gamers Nexus and a motherboard they bought from Newegg, and Newegg is accusing them of damaging the board, even though they didn't,
And that's where I usually buy all my parts from. This last time I bought everything from Amazon because they had everything pretty much, and it's the same price. It's just faster delivery.
Yeah, it's the same for me. Normally I was with Newegg, but like I've been saying, my last PC build, the one I'm on right now, using right now, I built that in 2014. It's been that long ago. Back then, Newegg was definitely the one. that was before I really got into Amazon. Like I really started using Amazon around that time. Like right after I built the PC, I really started using Amazon a lot. So nowadays, yeah, it's the same for me. The price difference is the same. Like the price are usually the same. But like if my processor was on sale when I bought it, it was like $375. At the time, that was a new low, right? Like from time to time, it'll go up to like $416 or so. And like obviously, I've been tracking the process the prices to say that, but Newegg and Amazon would increase and decrease the prices within seconds of each other. You know, whenever the deal was gone, or if they were out of the chips at that lower price and went back up to a higher price, they would have the same.
Well, I would compare the two, and if I see that Amazon has everything I need, and they may have a slightly maybe higher price, say $5-10, just get it from Amazon.
Yeah, because they delivered it faster, especially nowadays. Or around my area, they do their own deliveries now.
Yeah,
and it's way better than UPS or the postal service.
Dude, we got.
In fact, I'm waiting for my cooler because I'm waiting for the postal service.
We got a D center like 3 miles from my house.
Oh,
so,
wow.
So sometimes they say, "Oh, you want to deliver today? We'll deliver by midnight." I'm like, dude, these guys are serious.
Yeah, there's a lot of items in New York. If you order early enough in the day, like before noon, especially if you live in New York, that's possible now to get that.
Yeah, but they'll deliver it the same day, within a few hours. Like, you want it today between 2 and 4? I'm like, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, and there's a timer and everything. If you order before this amount of time, and there'll be a countdown, right? You'll get it tomorrow, maybe even. Most of the things that I try to order, unless they're not at the local warehouse, I could have them within the next day. It really is.
Amazon's a monopoly, man.
Monopolies, bro, man. Let's jump right into that topic. Because
we'll say it for a little bit. I did want to give some spotlight to a little service called Stadia, which is not just a little
spotlight to something that's on death row.
Yeah. So they posted this I think they're gonna go through a rebranding. They're gonna call it something else now. So they made this post earlier today saying supporting our developers and publishing partner is a core goal for Stadia, which of course that's anybody within the business. Take a peek behind the scenes, yada, 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 about what they're doing. And here's one thing that really stood out, because we know how Phil Spencer has kind of been changing the game and saying engagement is a priority. Engagement is what drives the industry. Engagement is what makes a game live a lot longer than, say, a few years ago, when it was just like you play it once, okay, and it dies off, So he's been kind of spreading the word here. And here's what Google has to say. If I can blow it up a little bit more. It says right here, this first incentive program. It says apply for access to add your game to Stadia Pro, where we're giving 70% of monthly program revenue back to participating partners. Earnings are based on player engagement measured by session days.
What the?
So even them are saying that earnings are based on engagement, player engagement, not just by the sale of the one copy or the one license.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just interesting that they're saying this as well. They're pretty much kind of agreeing what Phil Spencer's saying, that hey,
it's the new metric. This is the thing that matters the most.
Right. Player engagement, which Phil Spencer has been saying over and over again, but people are saying, you're just trying to move the goalposts. Oh, you're just trying to.
They were moving the goalposts in terms of how they make their money and in terms of what people think, because before they really started doing this, Microsoft and Phil Spencer was out and out about it. Like, we're not going to announce, console sales anymore and things like that, because that's not even important anyway. They let us know early on that this is what they were doing, and this is how they measured their successes. And I'll give a comparison in a roundabout way, right? Like, I'm into retro games, right? And so I'll collect certain games that are important to me. I'm not the one to, to collect a whole platform's worth of games, right? Only games that I care about. So there's, certain ones I might have, right? But there are other people who like to just get all types of games and they're concerned about the value of the game in terms of dollars and if they want to flip it, blah, blah, blah. I'm not into all of that. So a lot of people say to me, okay, I'd rather have the cartridge than play emulation, right? Mm-hmm. And I say to them, well, that's cool and all if you want to use the real thing. But if you're acting like you're supporting the company because you have the real hardware, that's not the case, especially mainly if it's something used. If you're buying something used, it's not like Nintendo is getting any money because you bought it from some guy or you bought a GameStop, or a Funko Land or whatever. They're selling retro games. They're all used games that somebody had traded in way back when, and they're just making some more money off of that. It's not like Nintendo or Sony or whoever else is getting this money from you.
Exactly. I mean, I sell a lot of my old stuff, and it's not like I'm going to go to Microsoft like, hey, I just sold your Xbox One. Here's your share.
Here's your share. They don't get anything. So it's the same thing here. Like you buy a game. Okay, let's say you could buy a physical copy of a Stadia game somehow. Somehow you would have some physical representation that you own the game, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's say you sell that to me. Stadia is not going to see another cent.
Nope.
But every month they're paying for the servers that are running the games.
Yep.
Right? So it's like a lot of these online games, even on the PC side, where PC people used to complain about and say, oh, why are you paying for Xbox Live? We don't pay for nothing. Those servers these games are running on are not free. It costs somebody.
It's costing
these
somebody.
Servers for the connection, to upkeep them, the people who maintain them, the people who add new ones, right? The people who have to configure them, the people who are programming them. There's a whole side to that people aren't seeing. All they see is the money they're putting out. And that's, of course, important. Of course, you got to worry about your pocket first. But this just goes to show what Phil Spencer was talking about. There's many ways to look at this and to see why it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, this is just the way forward from now on. It's not about the console sales or how many times you sell a particular game. It's if people are playing it. Because if they're playing it, they're more likely to buy content and stuff.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, what's the point of buying the game, which is great? You bought it and you're brand new. Okay. If it's just going to be sitting on your shelf.
Right.
You played it once. Okay. But I like to keep my collection. Okay, cool. You kept the collection, but you're not engaging in the game anymore. You're not buying the DLCs. You're not buying the skins. You're not buying the content. You played it once. You paid your $60 or 70 these days.
Right.
And now you're done.
Right.
You're not engaging anymore within that game.
Right.
So they got the $60, but that's all they got from you.
That's dead money. Eventually that money is used up. It can just be in the servers that run the games. This is why you see the difference between Sony and Microsoft when it comes to online. Like you would see articles all the time, this game or that game, the online is being shut down. Why? Because they need to recycle those servers to the next game. It's not just about the sports game. That's an obvious example. EA does the same thing, right? Yeah. But with Microsoft and the way their Xbox Live was set up, the servers that run the games can run any game. It's not just a server for this game and that game. Yeah, there's certain games that have, special behind the scenes stuff that's going on, like the Halo series on 360 and Destiny and stuff, right? But most multiplayer games are just, like especially in the 360 era where the games are running on the consoles themselves and all the servers did was the matchmaking.
Yeah.
It connected people together and then they started playing. So the servers could be not as plentiful and could serve a lot of people. It didn't cost as much money. But for Sony, their servers was such that, they had a server for The Last of Us. They had a server for Killzone 2 and Killzone 3 and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But those servers have to be maintained. And if not enough people are playing those games, those servers are costing them money and they would shut them down so quick.
There's no
Xbox never really had that problem.
No. I mean, didn't you tell me last time that there's still like old Call of Duty games, 360 games playing it?
The 360 ones are still playable. When they become backwards compatible, there'll be that little bit of time where people are playing them again because they're checking it out. It was a game they liked or whatever. They go play online, and that's where you discover all that.
That's crazy. That's crazy that 360 ones are still going.
Yeah, look at the
It's
rumor
nuts.
about GoldenEye that we had a couple months ago about that they were finally going to release that. And that was the point that I made online and elsewhere. Like, dude, that's a 360 game that supposedly was completed way back then. They could sell it right now, and 3 generations of consoles would be able to enjoy it. People with 360s who just have 360s could go out and buy that game today if they were released it today. And folks on Xbox Ones and folks now on the new series consoles. And if they had put it on xCloud, that too. That would have been crazy.
It's crazy. It is. It's nuts. So no, it was like, who knows what's going to happen with Stadia? I mean, no, I don't pay attention to it.
I don't pay attention to Stadia. It was DOA off bat.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
it's just this that what caught me when I read this article. I'm like, oh, somebody else is also saying that player engagement is what's measured. You know, earnings are based on player engagement, not just the sale of the license itself. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious, frankly, because a lot of people, like, they don't seem to see or understand why. And I can understand if you just don't understand, but people flat out disagree, not because
just for the sake of disagreeing,
right? The sake of disagreeing, particularly, you know, because it's Microsoft who's leading this charge now, right? But if Sony was to switch to that tomorrow, they don't understand or whatever, would all of a sudden have no problem with it and say why it's such a great thing that Sony's doing it.
Sony's always does everything right. That's why.
Yeah, it's kind of like Apple. Like, they'll get the credit, even though a competitor, you know, I probably did it long before them.
It's like, but Android did it 3 years ago. But it's Apple. Yeah, come on. But it's
That's
Apple.
how it goes.
That's how it goes. What was the thing you want to jump into? I was talking monopolies, huh? I said Monopoly. Yeah. He said, "Oh, let's get into it." I'm like, "All right, go ahead now. What you got, man?"
Oh, that whole Monopoly thing, man. That's been attacked every which way. You know, all the who's who on YouTube. You got your Fratanga Plays and Alex's and all these other, even Destin and them. You know, they've broken it down why it makes sense or why it doesn't.
Did you watch?
Right? So this whole
situation. Did you watch the edited version of Adam's rant?
Oh yes, the one that you posted. Yeah, I reposted that in the middle of the show. So yeah, I definitely saw that. That was awesome. But that dude Alex, man, what a loser.
I listened to the whole thing. I'm like, oh my god, this guy. I don't know who the guy is. I really don't know where he's from. I don't know what he does. All I saw was he's a comedian. A comedian.
That's the thing about it. That's the thing about it. See, I'm a big fan of stand-up, right? And I know a lot of these comedians. I don't know all of them, but I know a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
So his face is vaguely familiar. Like, but even to me as a fan of stand-up comedy, right? Who goes to shows. I'm going to a show this weekend, you know, for Valentine's Day with my girl. I'm taking her to a comedy show. I'll be at the Gotham. I'm not gonna know till I get there because it could be Kevin Hart or a bunch of other people. Like, that's what they're advertising, right?
Some big names, huh?
Yeah, it's a spot where big names go. So like Kevin Hart and others are known to go there. So it could be anybody, right?
Yeah.
So like I said, like this guy, I like what Fratanga Plays had said about it. He kind of joked about it in his video. He was like, he's a failed comedian, but he kind of corrected himself. So and he said, like, I'm gonna correct myself so people won't be mad at me or something like that, or boo him or whatever like that, right? This comedian, no, trust me, this is a failed comedian because I'm a big fan of stand-up comedy and I vaguely even recognize his face. So that means, yeah, he's a failed comedian.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was just talking out of his ass, all emotion. And like, dude, the video that Destin put out, okay, shout out to Eli the Realist because he's the one who told me about this video, and I kept bringing up the Fratanga Plays video. Like, the points he brought up in that video logically were really good, and these were points I didn't see elsewhere. And indeed, most of them weren't mentioned by Destin, so, you know, my point still holds true. But this is about the Destin's video. Destin's video was awesome. He didn't have the points that Fratanga had, but his points hit harder. His whole video and explanation hit much harder than Fratanga's did, in my opinion, right? So, like, he really broke it down. Like, and at the same time, made fun of this guy and explained how this guy messed up in his own argument. He proved himself wrong while he was speaking. If you caught it. And like, watch Destin's video. He'll break that down as to why that is. But in what was this guy's name? Adam, right?
Adam Canovo or whatever it's called.
Who cares about his last name? Adam, the dumbass. Okay, Adam, the dumbass, forevermore, right? Contradicted himself in his own video and explained why he was wrong in his own video and didn't even realize it. That's how emotion-based this is. It's not logical at all. Like, most people were like, Monopoly? What? Okay, and then that picture that everybody puts out with the pie chart. People
I was going to mention
that came out. Before that came out, right? But that pie chart gave more people
an idea,
talking points. Yeah. Like, they're barely above, I think, Sony now in terms of developers and stuff now. I think they have a slightly larger pie or slightly smaller, one of the two. It's like right there, right? The difference between them is such that is basically the same between them, right? Everybody else is bigger than them. Is it Embracer Group, Tencent, and then EA and Ubisoft aren't bigger than them, but are slightly smaller.
So this one you're talking about?
Yeah, with all the dots. Yes, this one. So, okay. Yeah. Tencent is bigger than Sony, right? But not as big as Ubisoft. Is bigger than Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft is 3 times the size of Sony now. But Sony was the one making all the money.
It seems like the same. I mean, based on this picture, it just looks like the same size as Tencent.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Take-Two. Okay. No. The Tencent is slightly larger than Microsoft's. Because if you look at the edge, the amount of studios that's there at the border edge, all the way at the end, you'll see there's 5 for Microsoft and there's 6 here for Tencent. No, there's 7 for Tencent. So they're slightly bigger, right? Okay, yeah. Sony is slightly smaller than Microsoft now because they have 4 at the outer edge. Microsoft has 5. You can see that. So, okay, Microsoft is slightly larger now, right? But there's Take-Two, which is larger than Sony. Embracer Group, who's larger than everybody. Okay, there's no one who's as large as Embracer Group. If you merge EA and Tencent, okay, and gamers who know about Tencent and how that's really a Chinese company and all of that, and a lot of people are concerned about them and how big they're getting and how many, pieces that they have, a part of, right? Yeah. Well, if you combine them and EA, they're still not as big as Embracer Group, okay? Microsoft is on the lower end. The only one who's smaller than them is Sony, and not by much. And not by much. And Sony has been making more money than all of them with the piece that they had. And their piece used to be a little larger because they closed down a couple studios.
So what was everybody complaining about then?
That's been replaced, right?
So what is everybody complaining about then?
And the funny thing about it is,
it's Microsoft.
Before this chart came out, people generally knew this. Because all the responses was at the very beginning when this first happened, like, Monopoly? What are you talking about? What Monopoly? Microsoft doesn't have them, and they just got these guys, and there's way bigger ones. And then we got the pie chart that proved it. So, I mean, in terms of fact and luck, and just in terms of the facts, hell no, this ain't no Monopoly. But in terms of these morons, this one Adam the moron guy and all these other people, like, the older I get, the more my perspective is different than the people who are in the same conversations as me and you. Like, this dude has to be maybe 10 years younger than me. I'm 42, right? I don't know how old he is, but if he's even 10 years younger than me, that means when he started playing games, it might have been PlayStation.
Yeah.
There were a lot of these folks. They started on PlayStation. We might have started on Nintendo. I started even before Nintendo on Atari and Commodore 64. I don't know where you started from, right? But you might have. Okay, that's cool. You see, the 2600, a lot of people started on 2600. Yeah. And you might have an emotional attachment to that, right? As a system you started off on. But not only does that exist, you also don't think that Atari is better than everybody now. Okay, they're not even in the console arena. But if you started on PlayStation, you might feel some type of way about PlayStation, but you don't seem the type of person who would act like these PlayStation guys do now. But I think that's the thing about it too. It's not only about what they began on, it's also about just the culture when they were kids. The way we grew up was very different than the way they grew up, even by 10 years.
Yeah.
Even by 10 years, I think it would be very different. So he just sees PlayStation as the be all end all. So it might be like more emotional than anything else. But this guy was a comedian. What the hell does he know about any of these things to be talking about? But apparently he makes a bunch of videos on a bevy of topics. And I could be wrong, but I imagine they're just as ill-informed. Yeah. He's a crappy comedian. As a comic fan, I can't say I barely recognize his face. What could he be talking about with any point of authority or knowledge? It doesn't seem like he would have any.
Like even right now, even as the exposure he's gotten over this rant, I still don't know who he is. I still don't know what he's played in. I don't know his jokes. I don't know his stand-up. I don't know anything about that. And I still don't have no interest in knowing. I mean, I really don't care.
Me neither.
So, but yeah, it's just weird how some people just come out like, oh man, I need some attention. So I guess let me rant about. I don't know. I don't know how deep he follows. He just doesn't interact with anybody or what. You know what I mean?
Dude,
it's just weird to like someone like him of his, I don't know, stature, you can say, that comes out and puts a rant like this and then kind of falls off. I mean, he hasn't said anything else after this.
I think he put out another tweet or something, maybe.
Did he?
Like he played victim role, like why everybody's attacking me, I'm right, or something to that, general degree. But yeah, man. Okay, but here's an example of
he gave me the perfect material to work on and edit.
Oh, dude, it's hilarious, man. What you did with that.
I listened to his whole thing. I'm like, oh my god, I can completely splice this up. I'm just like, let me go ahead and start doing it. Yeah, it was awesome.
Hilarious, bro. But the one other thing I wanted to say was like he was so emotional about it, and everybody could tell too. Everybody could tell. They started laughing at him. So here's the thing I wanted to say. Like, you ever heard the saying bad press is still good press or something to that effect? Yeah. No,
bad press is always
No. This is a perfect example of no, that ain't true. This is all bad press. He just looks bad for him right now. That's that. He just looks bad. Computer, stop. Sorry, I had my Alexa go off.
Alexa, stop it.
Stupid. She's dumb as hell lately, let me tell you. But yeah.
Yeah, some people are visual people. So it's nice that this chart came out just to kind of give people a visual idea of that Microsoft is not doing a monopoly or doing whatever people are accusing them of doing. I mean, you still got Ubisoft, who's larger than Microsoft. You got Embracer, like you said. You got Tencent. I mean, they're not even close to even a quarter.
Not even. They would have to spend so much more money. So much more money. Like
they would have to take over Take-Two and EA to have at least a quarter.
EA may or may not sell. Let's say that much at least, right? May or may not sell. That's debatable. But Microsoft and EA have a good relationship, right?
Yeah.
Let's say that was possible to happen, right? A buyout of Ubisoft, especially if you know about the whole situation where there was almost a takeover of Ubisoft in the past couple of years, maybe 5 years ago this happened or so, right? So they're not trying to be bought out. They had to battle to not be bought out by, I want to say, Embracer Group. I think actually it wasn't. Well, you know what? I don't want to say anything. I'd be completely wrong. But long story short, somebody tried to buy them, and they had to fight like hell not to be bought. So why would they want Microsoft to buy them?
I mean,
so
if anything,
wouldn't want to get bought.
Saying is true is like Embracer would be the one being accused of monopoly because they would have a huge chunk if they took Ubisoft.
Right. So my point is, even though there's pieces of the puzzle out there that are purchasable, like EA and Take-Two, there's much, much more that I think it's safe to say is not purchasable by Microsoft or anybody. They will not let themselves be sold.
It's just what Microsoft have been doing the last couple of years with ZeniMax and then Activision Blizzard is just nobody's seen this before, you know? So by Microsoft doing this, everybody's like, what the hell is going on? You know,
Yep.
where how are they able to do this? And then knowing what Activision and ZeniMax have, they have all these little studios underneath it, not just the name of Activision, but everything else underneath it. They're like, they just took over all these studios, and they never seen that, because usually it's just a single studio. Like, oh, we want, you know, one studio, you know, say DICE, or we want, you know, GameWorks, you know. It's usually just one little studio. But no, Microsoft, like, you know what, just give me the whole thing. It's like, we'll just take everything. and nobody's ever seen that. Hold on, what you need? Nothing. Nobody's ever seen that, so it completely threw off everybody's, you know, knocked everybody on their back, like, oh my god.
Yeah, nobody saw that coming. And the funny thing about that is,
and another thing, hold on, another thing, it's not just random obscure studios or publishers. It is Activision. It is ZeniMax. It is Activision. It's Blizzard.
Yep.
These are not like little names. These are,
right,
you know, anybody that knows gaming, these are big names.
Yeah. So it had people shook. But for those who are scared, even you PlayStation guys, remember, some of the biggest pieces of the puzzle aren't for sale for anybody to buy, Sony or Microsoft. Now, they might sell them to Amazon or Google, right? Because they'll take that level of money, and Microsoft has that level of money too, but they don't want to sell to Microsoft because they want to compete. If they sold to Amazon or Google, it's because they want to be that new competitor that's competing against Microsoft and Sony. You see the difference? So even if you're a PlayStation fanboy who doesn't like all these buyouts, there's not that many more that they could do. Yeah, there's Take-Two and EA. I think those two are arguable. I don't think either one of those is going to happen. Well, maybe one of those two might happen. Maybe EA. Who knows what could happen in the future? Let me not say anything like that. But they're the two most likely, the two most possible to happen. Ubisoft does not want to be bought, as I explained. And all the rest is from Embracer Group and Tencent. Those aren't up for sale. Those guys are buying stuff. They're not trying to sell. They're trying to buy more. If they could have bought Activision, Embracer Group or Tencent would have did. Well, not Tencent, because Tencent buys pieces, you know, not even a controlling interest, just an interest of note that they would have influence on stuff. This is why, you know, a lot of people hate Tencent, you know, with the whole connection to China and how China does stuff. You see that with movies, right? Yeah. And they don't want Tencent doing that to games. But you see Embracer Group, there's, like, if you want to worry about monopoly, just like you said, Embracer Group is the one to really be worried about. Not Microsoft, and Sony doesn't have the capital to be
the thing is,
a threat like that.
You know, as involved I am into gaming, and I've been gaming since the 2600, you know, I never heard of Embracer Group.
Not until recently. It's
how many people know about them, you know?
Right. A lot of people do not.
I mean, this is the first time I've seen this name.
Or Tencent. This is the first time I've seen these two. You've never heard of those? We've talked about Tencent before.
Okay. Tencent, I've heard you guys talk about it. I've heard people. So
at least you heard,
right. But I don't know anything.
Not
about
Embracer Group. Right.
And Embracer Group, this is the first time I've seen it.
Okay, Tencent, I really don't have much I could inform you on any further other than to say they're based out of China. And you know, to be a big corporation, anything like that in China, you know, it's all a part of the government over there anyway. It's that whole situation over there anyway.
State owned anyway.
Right. And that's the problem with Tencent even taking pieces. See, they don't buy most developers. They just buy a piece. Not even a controlling interest, like I said. Just enough to either profit from or at least have some kind of influence. And they have a lot of stuff, and they keep buying key things. They're very selective in what they get interests in. So they keep buying key puzzle pieces, or at least influence in key puzzle pieces. And when it comes to China, you always got to look at that with the squinty eye, because, you know, that's sus. That's a whole different level of sus we don't want. We're, like I said, we already see that in movies. So that's a whole troublesome thing that could be on the horizon. But yeah.
On the desk. This guy. This whole time he's been going up and down the room. All he wanted was a Switch.
Why didn't he just say that before when you asked him?
It's like, you should just ask me when you walked in, you know?
Yep.
why up and down? Like, he's like, you're getting on my nerves. He's like walking behind me this much, And then he's like, he makes a little switch thing, like maneuver on his hands. He's like, the switch. I'm like, it's in the room. Go get it. It's on the desk. Oh, okay. It's like, get out of here.
I forget he would have like texted you or something.
No, he doesn't have a phone yet. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah. No, he's 11 years old. He doesn't really, I mean, he'll go outside and play with his friends, and I'll go look for him if I need him to come back home. But
he's your oldest, right?
He's the oldest. He's
okay. Listen.
Uh-huh.
You know, this time of peace that you have is soon to end with him, right?
Oh yeah.
So enjoy it when you can.
It's already been ending for a good while now. He's talking back. He gives me some attitude, and I had to sit down with him and talk to him and say, hey, why is it when you always want something, you're really nice to me? Like, Daddy, can I have this? But when I say, hey, it's time to get dressed and go to school, you're like, I know. He gets all angry, like all attitude, And it's like, you need to keep that. Yeah, exactly. It's like, you need to cut that crap out, because I'm not going to be nice anymore if you're going to continue this. He's like, I get mad. You annoy me sometimes. Like, you annoy me the most.
Welcome to my world.
Welcome to my world, punk.
But yeah, that's how it is, bro.
No, he's been asking for a phone too, and I'm like, nah, you don't need a phone right now.
Yep, you don't need
a phone right now.
Yeah, enjoy the time while you can still fight to have it, bro. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, he's 2 years old. Well, he's about to go into junior high next year, so I'm gonna have to have a talk with him about stuff like that. So about junior high and how some peer pressure with just to be cool, because this is when it all happens. Yeah, it gets worse in high school.
Oh boy.
And so yeah, it's nuts with this little guy here. So that's cool, man. I know this picture, it helped me understand a little bit more. It was like, hey, Microsoft doesn't have a big chunk in this play,
Not at all.
And people are just losing their minds because it's Microsoft, it's Xbox.
Of course. And no matter what they say, that's what it really is. That's what it boils down to.
Yes, it is. It has nothing to do with hurting the industry. It has nothing to do with consumer friendliness. It all has to do with, because it's Microsoft.
Yep, and it's not Sony, because
it's not
Sony was the one who did this, they would have loved. They would have. Listen, man, it's like the Bungie thing. I guess we're going to talk about that next, right? But I guess
we can say anything goes.
But I just want to say, before I even speak on that specifically, right? It's a podcast I'm not going to name. You should know, if you were following the conversation we were having in the DMs when the news had just broke, right? So I was watching a podcast. Like I say, I won't name the name. The host had, a couple of their guests on. There was this one guest. Okay, so one guest was speaking. He's more pro Xbox, it seems to say, right? So the host was kind of like poking at him a little bit, because it's a big thing that this is going on. So this, at very first, before we had the details about, everything would stay multi-platform, before we had the details, and everybody,
what's up, 100?
Hey, what up, 100? So back when all we knew was that they were purchasing Bungie, but we didn't know that everything was going to be still multi-platform, all these things, right? Yeah. All the PlayStation fanboys for that quick moment were extra hype, right? So the host is poking at this other dude a little bit playfully, nothing serious, right? But the other dude, he hops in, and he's talking that reckless. Then he starts talking, but it's still all jokes and stuff at that point, right? Yeah. Like, he's going about after the Xbox guy, and this before they got details, right? So now, then he starts going a little extra. So extra that he disrespects the host, the host muse dude, right? It was like, whoa, like verbally is checking dude, right?
Yeah.
Now, as the host is wrapping up the verbal check and is about to say, okay, now I'm going to put your mic back on, to speak, dude's already gone. Then pops in the super chat like, oh, the dude I was ripping, that's my boy, blah, blah. I'm sorry if I said I was going a little too far, I'm a little hype over the situation. He apologized and everything. Meanwhile, everybody's like, oh, they're all cool. It was not all cool when you muted his mic when it was this close away from cursing him out, because he straight did violate and told host to shut up on
Yeah.
their platform, their show. How that's just no, right?
You just don't do that.
So the host just went
unless
in
you want to get kicked off.
right. But dude ran off anyway by himself before he could even get a chance to respond when his mic was about to be unmuted and everything. That's what the host was just about to do when dude just left, right? And it's just so funny. Like, and the reason I bring up this whole thing, the point I'm trying to make with that is these PlayStation dudes are dying for whatever little thing they can get.
Any crumb that falls onto the floor. Yeah.
So before they knew the details of this acquisition, to know this really is a bit of an L, they overpaid. Nothing changes for anybody. The only people, and shout out to New Legal, because he's the one who came up with this first. I've heard other people say it independently, but he said it first. The only ones who really win out of this is Bungie and more specifically, their employees.
Yeah.
They're covered.
They banked on it. They banked on it.
That's right. And Bungie has been trying to play this play for a long time. And I think what everybody's saying about this being a business deal they've been working on for a while, I believe that. I do believe that because we heard rumors last year, and the head of Bungie twice last year had to confirm that they are not in talks with Microsoft. I think back then they were in talks with Sony, but at the same time, the reason why this happened a week after this Activision thing was because of the Activision thing. That lit the fire under Sony's ass to accept this bad deal. Because this is a bad deal for Sony. Sony gets nothing out of it. Yeah, they get some development help from Bungie, but they could have contracted them to do that if that's what they really wanted. Like Bungie could have got some money off of that work.
Yeah. Reading what people have been posting, like, dude, they didn't really get anything.
Nothing.
You know, they get their name on it, maybe. You know?
Yep.
And they're still multi-plat. Okay. You didn't take anything away from anybody.
Yep.
So what was the gain? Maybe content that's exclusive, but that's just content. I mean, who cares?
Not even that. Everything is staying multi-platform. Yeah, the content, like the deals they had with exclusive, not exclusive.
The 1 year thing.
Yeah, the 1 year thing with Destiny and all that. They're not gonna have, well, they might have new ones, but everything is still like this doesn't change nothing. Sony gets the exclusive content, or at least for like timed exclusivity on content, not whole games. That's so
what did they get?
Nothing except the fact that they own them. Because remember, they can stay independent. They're publishing their own games, so they're not even going to have the Sony brand name on their games. They're going to have the Bungie brand name. They're self-publishing and everything, right? So they don't even have that. All that Sony gets is access to their developer knowledge and acumen, and they can help. But like I said, they could have done that without buying them for way too much money. They could have got that same thing. This is why I think the only reason this happened was because of the Activision buyout. That scared them and they blinked first.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no. Because Activision.
The show, that is the other thing, but that's a benefit more to Sony because Sony's really going to get most of that money off of that. So, I mean, yeah, I guess that's how Sony could explain it off, but they still have to put in more money to make these movies or whatever content that they make before they could profit off of it. They just got the access to the rights to make content now, but they still have to pay and make that
it can't be a reaction to what Microsoft did with Activision, because that happened like a month or two before Sony.
But that's what I'm saying. I think this was always in the works. It always was.
Oh, okay.
I think we're about Microsoft trying to make that deal. That's where the rumors were inaccurate. That's what it came from. Sony and Bungie were probably in talks, right? But everybody thought it was Microsoft, especially because that was not too long after the ZeniMax thing, right? Yeah. So everybody had Microsoft buying developers on the brain. We still do, right? Yeah. But it was actually Sony all along. But what I'm saying on top of that is the Activision thing lit the fire under Sony's ass.
So Sony's like, all right, let's do this deal now.
Money. Right, for too much money. Yeah. That was always the problem, but they said, oh, shit, we got to do it now. And that's just my opinion, and that's my belief on the situation. I could be wrong.
Good job for Sony for doing what they did. I mean, not Sony, but Bungie.
Bungie, because their employees are the ones who win.
They're taken care of. Yeah.
And they put it in the contract where they can't get screwed. They've had contracts with Microsoft and Activision, and they had a thing with Tencent, like what Sony, a lot of that money from Sony, I think is going to Tencent, if I'm not believe, or some other Chinese player who bought out the Bungie contract from Activision. I believe it was a Chinese firm, if not Tencent, some other one. And so what Sony did was they bought from them. It was some other group that got Bungie out of Activision in the first place.
Yeah.
So they're paying them. Oh, yeah, and the extra thing I wanted to say was, here's the funny thing. This is why the conversation is back to about if Microsoft is a monopoly or not. Not only because this stupid comedian guy, but because this Bungie situation turned out to be a complete non-situation anyway. So the conversation just reverted back to the upcoming acquisition of Activision. Plus with this whole wannabe comedian dude.
Now with the whole Activision thing and Jim Ryan and Phil Spencer having a talk, I really want to know what they said besides whatever they're putting out. I want to know the honest truth. It's like, was Jim like scared? Like, dude, are you really gonna like take these games off our platform?
Okay, I get to explain a theory of mine for something else. Like, if I want to hear, what's your theory on it before I say mine?
I mean, it's just funny that Xbox announces they're going to take over Activision,
right,
and everything that's underneath, and within that same week, me and Jim Ryan had a good talk about this. I was like, well, like who called who? I would say Sony had to call them.
Okay,
and be like, it's like, all right, Phil, what's going on here? I see this is what you're doing. Kingpin taking over all these publishers with all the studios underneath. Call of Duty is one of our big ones because we're under contract with them. It's like, are you going to completely take us off? Or what? And or they had another talk saying, hey, we're about to get Bungie. Let's keep COD multiplat. Let's keep Destiny multiplat. No harm, no foul. I don't know, man.
Well, there's multiple angles to look at this. Yeah. So there's also the announcement. I think the announcement came out at the same time, actually, right? About 10 online titles or whatnot. I'm forgetting the term they use, but within this year, I think even, right?
Oh, you mean live services games?
You're right, the live services games, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, Bungie has a piece to play with that because they have expertise in that.
Yeah.
So there's part of that, and there's a lot of talk. Phil Spencer's favorite game is Destiny. This is known. Everybody knows. He talks about it all the time. The Xbox fans talk about that all the time. So we know this. So it's hard to not imagine that had something to do with it. I'm not saying it did or didn't, but it's going to be something that's obviously going to enter Xbox, players' mind if you know that. Like it's going to be a thought that crosses your mind.
Yeah.
Is it anything like that? I don't know. Maybe not. But there's also, they each have something the other wants, right? And if you notice with the Call of Duty thing, though, with the Activision thing, though, they said contracts will stay, basically.
Yep.
Exactly what they said with ZeniMax, right?
Yep.
So I imagine that's mainly for the Call of Duty contract, where PlayStation is getting the exclusives first in terms of content first or whatever, under that month advantage or whatever, and certain things, Xbox doesn't get to the like a year.
Yeah.
Right. Because there was a couple years ago, there was one of the Call of Duties. It might have been the new version of Modern Warfare where there was content that was supposed to be a year exclusive.
I thought that was Destiny.
Maybe Destiny. Maybe it was Destiny.
It was Destiny.
But this was Destiny when they were still with Activision back then. Right.
Yeah,
so
they were Activision.
It was a piece of but I think it had to do with Call of Duty because the point I'm making was because they said, okay, fine, we're not going to make this exclusive. Like the contract is extended one more year because they didn't make that one thing exclusive, or they worked it out in some other way where the multiplayer for the remake of Modern Warfare, like the original remake of Modern Warfare, not the remake, the remastered version.
The remaster,
like
yeah.
Like the PlayStation had extra content or something.
I remember.
So, yes, that wasn't supposed to happen. But the only reason it did happen was because they broke some other contract that they were supposed to do, or something like that. That was the previous exclusivity that PlayStation was supposed to have, but because like the fans all got mad, and so they reneged off of that. But they said, okay, we'll put it onto this thing instead, and we'll push it back one. And it was something like that. So I think the main thing with that statement that Phil Spencer and Microsoft had made about they're gonna adhere to contracts, the previous contracts, has something to do with that and other things like that. But after that's over, Microsoft, they've been doing that lately. They would lock it up, except for the fact they've made it clear that they probably intend to keep Call of Duty multi-plat. And even unlike the ZeniMax deal, with everybody in the Xbox side of the equation was like, dude, as soon as the contracts are done with, everything is going to stay exclusive, and clearly it is.
But with
this thing, we all expected that Call of Duty would remain multi-platform, even though Microsoft bought them. Everybody thought that off bat, in contrast to what happened with ZeniMax, where we all expected that would stay exclusive. Well, yeah, Call of Duty, I think he said more officially now. I could be wrong in that too. But I think I've heard official word that, Call of Duty will stay multi-plat, and I'm sure these contracts for exclusivity and content will stay with PlayStation until that expires, and then it'll just be open onto both sides. Like what they do with baseball and stuff.
So for me, dude, I really don't care if Call of Duty continues to be multi-plat.
Because it already sucks now anyways. Like,
well, I've lost, not because it sucks for me. I mean, it sucks, like the game actual sucks for me, and I don't play it. I'm not a fan anymore of COD like I was back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But even if I was, it wouldn't bother me, because knowing that if COD lands in Game Pass day one,
exactly.
I mean, I still win.
Yeah, I've always wanted to get the PC version of Modern Warfare, right?
Yeah. And
from time to time, like, it's been on sale, but I never caught it on sale, right? But after this whole Activision behind the scenes stuff happened with with the mistreatment of women and all that, I'm like, bro, I'm not spending no money on Activision, and I've held firm to that since, right? But now, not only could I, if I wanted to, I don't have to. It's going to be on Game Pass now.
It's going to be
Game Pass PC. I won't have to spend a dime. I'll just get it for free.
So if it stays multi-plat, let it stay multi-plat.
Yeah,
I really don't care.
Yeah,
it won't hurt me, because if it lands in Game Pass, which we think it should, I mean,
it will.
Hey,
it should.
It will. Then what do I care if they have to pay $70?
I don't care. Yeah, it's like with baseball. Like, I didn't play it last year. I'm not going to play this one. I don't care, but I understand what it is. And that's a massive L for Sony. They own the developer that makes the game. They're paying this developer to make a game, right, that their user base has to pay for, and the competition is essentially getting for free.
Yes.
That's embarrassing. And then they did it another year, because they were so successful last year. They're doing it again. And that's probably the way it's going to be from now on.
Yeah.
God,
it's insane.
Damn, that's egg on the face. Like, what?
It just proves to all the idiots that your distaste of Game Pass and the way it does business, the business model of it, doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
No
reason they hate it in the first place is because Microsoft is doing it. Because if Sony was
Microsoft,
they'd be fawning over it the way we fawn over it, because it just makes sense to us.
Yeah. It's just funny. It's just funny.
If Sony did it, if Sony did it, not only would they be applauding Sony, we would be applauding Sony.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I don't have a PlayStation and I don't have a Switch because they don't provide what I want. I don't have a PS5. I've had opportunities. I've mentioned this many times. I have opportunities direct from Sony. They've emailed me twice where I can just pay them and have it. I don't have to go through a scalper, and they're going to send it to my house. And the delivery service is quick. I think they use FedEx, right? I got one for my brother, as I've explained before. They did it within a day. The day after I paid them, my brother had it.
Nice.
And if I want it the second time, I would have had it the next day. Not even Amazon could do that with the Xbox. Not even Microsoft could do that. And they too use FedEx. I wouldn't have had it the next day. It would have taken me like 2 days.
Yeah.
So, hey, I don't want a PlayStation because there's nothing I want on it yet. And I think
Really?
their VR is going to be a good headset. I think they have potential to do a lot of stuff. Like, you remember PlayStation Home? Okay.
Yeah, well,
Shout out to
briefly.
Hip Hop Gamer. Shout out to Hip Hop Gamer because he was the first I ever heard say this like 2 years ago now, maybe even.
Uh-huh.
They're going to have PlayStation Home on the PSVR 2. They're probably going to show it off at this year's E3. Okay? So that's going to be their own sort of metaverse. And they already have experience in this.
I was so
They
tempted.
could really do something big with that because they'll have the first working one. You've heard about how Facebook has been losing all this money and stuff. Like they're taking a couple of knocks behind their metaverse thing. Meanwhile, Sony could come up out of nowhere and make something of it.
With their,
okay,
with
now
their,
all you
with their
Xbox fans,
Oculus?
no, with their VR headset with the PlayStation 5.
Oh, I thought you meant something about Facebook.
Oh yeah, because Facebook lost a bunch of money and stock shit. In fact, what's his name isn't even what do you call it? Top 10 richest men in the world anymore.
Oh, Zuckerberg? Yeah.
Yeah, Zuckerberg. They've lost that much money in stocks or whatever. I'm sure they'll rebound to some degree. I'm not a financial person, but I'm saying they lost a lot of money. And they keep saying, you know, like that's hurt a bit of their metaverse plans. But meanwhile, Sony has a metaverse on their own. This is going to be version 2. They did this before PlayStation Home. It was kind of crappy in certain ways, but it was very innovative in many ways. And, you know, the whole PS3 was a mess in and of itself. So there was that. But it just goes to show, because I'm sure there's a lot of Xbox fans who are going to listen to what I'm saying right now and be like, or angry at me. But I'm like, I'm just keeping it facts. This is, but it just goes to show why I don't want a PS5. They're not doing anything that makes me want to buy one. If they did, I would have owned one already, and I've had multiple opportunities. So I'm keeping it.
It doesn't help when all the other games are coming out on PS4 as well.
Yeah.
Because I still got my PS4, and
me too. Collecting dust. I would have gotten SIFU, but I want on PC, and it's on PC, but I'm not messing with that Epic Store.
No, I started playing it. I gave it some life because I bought the Final Fantasy VII remake for it. So I was like, I've been wanting to play that, and I thought by now we would have it on the Xbox, but I don't think it's going to come at all. So I'm like, I'll just get it on PlayStation.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't the first one come out on PlayStation Network for free? You had to pay for it yourself? Because I know I got it for free.
I don't know. I don't even subscribe to PSN anymore, so I don't know.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, because it was on PlayStation Plus. You had to have the on PlayStation Plus, and there was a month where they had it for free. You just, you know.
Oh, did they?
You just had to get it, and it would be a part of your account. Now, it was the PS4 version. If you want the PS5 version, you can't even just, you know, you pay the upgrade fee. No, you had to buy the PS5 version outright. Because there was another game like that they released, another high-profile game that has a PS5 version that they gave away on PSN. I forget what the game was, but same situation. If you want to get it on PS5, you don't pay the next gen tax. You pay the whole price of the game all over again. That PS4 version that you got from PSN for free, it makes no never mind to them. That doesn't count at all. Yeah,
it doesn't. Yeah, I've read that too. It doesn't count.
It doesn't.
It was the Uncharted series.
The Uncharted series, yeah.
It was the Uncharted. That is like the people that got it through PSN, which I got from PS Plus, still tied to my account.
Yep, me too.
If I want to play the PS5 version, you can't.
I've got the discs anyway, so it didn't matter. But I still have it right here. I could put my camera on and show them to you. But yeah, they're on the online account, and I'm like, this is worthless to me, you know.
Yep. So that doesn't help either. Where they said the next 2 or 3 years that all these new games, Ragnarok, Horizon. I don't know what else they got coming out. What else do they have coming out? That's all I know.
Gran Turismo, Horizon. PlayStation has more games than that. That's coming out. I'm not gonna front them. I really don't know. They have more than that, but not too much more.
But those are the two main ones that I want.
Yeah, Horizon, the two main ones. And SIFU was like a minor, situation.
Somebody said online that somebody's already beat it in like 40 minutes.
Okay. See, that's the thing about that. Listen, man.
I don't know if it's true. I didn't look into it.
I'm going to make this clear, okay? The game is a roguelike, and I'm sure there are many games out there that, if you're skilled enough, if you're LeBron of games, you could probably excel in the game despite the difficulty. And you know how roguelikes work. They make you get good because all the little crutches that we as gamers have that we take advantage of to, you know, eventually brute force our way through a game. Roguelikes, you know, they cock block you at every angle, right? Like, if you lose, you don't play through and gain something such that you could eventually brute force your way through the game. You eventually have, okay, there's certain things you can earn and unlock that you save with you despite you dying or whatever and starting over. But at the core, you have to eventually get good at the game by mastering it. And that's how you can beat roguelikes. And SIFU is a roguelike. And I'm sure there are gamers out there who are skilled enough to beat these games quickly, right?
Do I have
but
SIFU
most
in
people don't do
list?
that. Most people aren't able to do that. And to talk about it like that's how long it takes to beat these games is disingenuous. That's just what it is. Disingenuous. And there are people out here who are spreading that all around willy-nilly for console war bullshit.
Oh, it is.
That's exactly what that is. Doesn't matter if you're Xbox or PlayStation. This was an Xbox person that did this time. It's just as bad as when a PlayStation person does it. Okay, this is another thing I want to say. So now New Legal has been saying, and he gives me credit for this all the time, that I said, Xbox fans, we're winning, but it doesn't feel like it's winning because of the press and whatnot. Okay, we all understand that now. Well, listen to me. It's the same thing in reverse now. You Xbox fans are starting to talk a lot of wild stuff now that we're in the lead because we're winning right now. It's highly likely
the things that we didn't like.
That's what we're doing now.
What
or Xbox fans are doing now. Yeah. You're talking the same way you didn't like from PlayStation fans.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Can people be skilled enough to beat SIFU quickly?
Yes. Oh, look who it is.
Most people won't. Let's not pretend like that's what it is. Is that the topic? SIFU being 2 hours? That's just the thing we're talking about now, buddy.
No, the topic is 40 minutes.
Yeah. 2 hours or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, it's not 2 hours, but if you're skilled at the game, it's a roguelike. You have to master the game or just be naturally good at the game to get through it quickly, right? 2 hours, 45 minutes, 2.5 hours, whatever you want to say. But the implication that's going on online is that the game is ultra short, right? And then you could beat it quickly and thus isn't worth the asking price. And it's already a budget game. It's already $40. It's a budget game. The implication out there is false. And when PlayStation heads did that, we got all pissy, and rightfully so. Now that we're winning, and yes, I do believe Xbox is ahead of PlayStation in terms of sales, right? I discussed this on the Dragon's Den. If you didn't hear, you'll see my logic behind that. That's my personal belief. I'm not saying it's fact, but that's my personal belief, right? But either way, Xbox, at least everyone will agree, is doing a lot better, right? They possibly are neck and neck, if not, in my opinion, slightly ahead. But either way, Xbox is doing well. So now that we're in the...
Is SIFU a digital game only?
Thus far, probably.
Because I can't find anything
on
GameStop.
Disc. Yeah, I've not seen it on GameStop. I think it must be only a digital game for now. Maybe, I don't know. But like I said, it's a bit of an indie-esque game. It's a budget title. Yeah, no, it's not fair because it is okay. 9 foot. It's true what they say. It's factual, but that's why I say not that they're lying. They're being disingenuous because the implication isn't that the game, because the implication is the game is short. Hades has 4 levels, but you're not going to beat it in 15 minutes. You could pass a level in 1 minute. You're not going to beat the 4 levels in 5 minutes and then beat the game. It doesn't work like that.
You know, we need to get Nunfoot in here right now.
The game will punish you. Like I explained, the game will punish you until you get good that you could beat the game in 5 minutes. At the end, when you've mastered the game, you could start from ground zero with no save file where you don't have any of the unlocks that you get to keep with you and possibly beat the game quickly. But you'll have had to play the game a long time to reach that level of mastery first. And it's disingenuous to say it that way. Can the game be beaten in 2 hours? Yes. Does it have only 4 or 5 levels? Yes. But to say it's just off of that, that's not fair. If you want to feel that $25 is good price for the game, that's your opinion. and that's fine, and you're welcome to it. And I'll disagree on that opinion, but and then you can agree, and you could disagree with mine, and that's cool. But to say that your opinion is based on the knowledge that it only has 4 levels without the context of everything else, that's disingenuous, and that's where I would disagree with your opinion. If your opinion is based on all the facts, then I ain't got no problem with you. But that's my whole point. People are being disingenuous with the facts and then saying what they're saying. And this is a game that's multi-platform, it will be. It will be on Xbox. It's on PC now. It will be on Xbox when the exclusivity is over. If the shoe was on the other foot and this game was on Xbox, nobody on the Xbox side would be saying nothing.
Yeah.
The roles would be reversed between the points that the two sides are making. That's what shows the hypocrisy out there in the Xbox community. We're turning into what we hate the most with these PlayStation fanboys. I see it all the damn time.
Yeah.
And I won't stop calling it out. So a lot of Xbox fans are going to be mad at me with the things I say. And, from now, I'm sure a couple of folks don't like what I'm saying now I'm on the subject. But I'm not bugging. It's not opinion. It's fact. It's happened before. It's going to happen again.
Yeah, I think it's a digital only game.
Yeah, I think so too. But am I going to pay $40 on it? If it was on Xbox, it probably would have been on Game Pass.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't buy it until it was on PC later for $20. People need to go play video games and stay off Twitter. Thank you, 100. Thank you.
It's true. It's true.
Because the game looks dope. If it was on Xbox, nobody would be complaining. So stop with the BS, man. Because when it's on Xbox, hopefully by then I can get on Game Pass, and then it'll also, like, the PC version will be there. I won't have to spend a dime, but I will if it's on Steam, so I can have on my Steam Deck. Hint, hint. Hey, this is a good Switch game. It should be a Switch game too. I don't think the Switch could handle this.
Well, not the graphics.
No. Well, no, the Switch can handle this. I'm sure they would have to turn on graphics. This is not like it's a graphics powerhouse even on the PS4. I think the Switch can handle this. It would be lower res and textures and stuff, but
yeah. Yeah. So SIFU, huh? That's the new hot game right now.
Yeah, well, for this week anyway.
Yeah. Then they got
the game.
Doesn't Horizon come out next?
Isn't it this week? Yeah. Hold on. Wiki Horizon.
Well, I'll tell you right now. Let's see. There's no date on this article, but
it comes out the 18th. So that's what is that, next week?
10 days.
Next week, Friday.
Yeah. So I found there's been articles now, articles saying buy the PS4 version, save yourself $10 because you get the upgrade for free. And it's the only.
Yeah, that's right. Because he had to go because he was reneging on a previous statement from Jim Ryan. I mean,
yeah.
So he made it clear that this is the last time that's going to happen.
This is the last one's going to happen. This is the only game that you're going to get your
I forgot about upgrade. That. Yeah. Oh, so if you're in this game, get the PS4 version. Don't buy the PS5 version. There's no reason.
So yeah,
somehow they'll find a way to screw you over.
Well, reading some of the Twitter posts on this subject, it is funny because it's funny because you have PS4 people now battling with PS5. There's a civil war going on between PlayStation platforms.
Yeah.
And PS5 people are making fun of the PS4 people's. Okay, the ones that want to say,
because I'm laughing. I already realized why the psychology behind it. But please go.
The ones that are trying to save the $10 because it makes sense to them. It's like, hey, why would I want to pay an extra $10? Right. Why pay $70 for a game I could get for $60 and still get the upgrade for free?
Right.
So essentially, you're paying an extra $10 just to have the box cover that says PS5.
Mm-hmm.
They're paying $10 for a case. That's what
pretty much.
That's what you're paying for.
Or a different case.
A different case. It's white, and it doesn't say PS5. It says PS4. And so there's this battle between Sony fans are like, dude, why are you complaining about $10? It's just $10. That's always the weakest cop-out response. To me, I think that's always weak. Well, it's only $10. It's only $2. It's only $10. What is that? Yes, it's only $10 now. And then what if it's only $20? You're going to continue saying that? Oh, it's only $15. You know, these prices are going to continue going up. And what are you going to say every time? Oh, it's only $25. It's not going to break your wallet. So, dude, it's $20. It's $10. $10 will get me a good meal at Taco Bell, you know, and still have change left over.
Yeah, and you're in Texas, you have access to real good Tex-Mex. I don't know why you would go to Taco Bell for less than $10. So either way,
you know, it's real Mexican food. You know that.
Yeah, but to me, the thing about it is, okay, this is why I was laughing before. Like I said, the mentality of it. See, these PlayStation fanboys can't be this stupid because I've said it many times before. Look at the lies that they're making and what they lie about and what they don't lie about. They know what the truth is, right?
Yeah.
Because to construct their lies, they have to know what the truth is. That's number one. So therefore, that means they have to lie around the truth, right? So now that I've established that these dudes know what the truth is, there's the haves and the have-nots. A lot of PlayStation fans aren't picking up PS5s, right? They may want one, and there's lots of reasons for that. Either they want one, they can't. They think it's too expensive. They see there's not a lot of games, a lot of problems. Because as well as the PS5 is selling, because at least is that connect with the Xbox. I believe the Xbox is slightly ahead, but it's at least within reason, right? They're close right now at this early point.
Well, let me correct you this because the gaming analysts out there, which are Sony fans, they tell me that the Xbox Series S does not count towards the count. So
this is what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? They construct their lies in such a way that it shows they know what the actual facts are. That's the only way they can lie so specifically.
Removing all the Series S,
or being disingenuous.
The X is nowhere close to the PlayStation 5.
Either way. But the thing about it is also, if you can beat it in 2 hours without exploits, but that's only if you're skilled enough. Most people won't. But
skills, baby, skills.
It is what it is. That's what roguelikes are all about. They want to develop your skills. They want to make you the better gamer. Like all the upgrades that you got, and there's certain upgrades you can get in roguelikes that, even though you die, you keep, right? And even then, usually the point between the runs that you make, they call them runs, is that you're trying to amass these things, right? Like in Hades. Sometimes you do a run knowing you're going to die, but you're trying to amass, potions and items that you're going to use in a run where you actually are trying to beat the level, right? And you're trying to amass a bunch of items that you're going to use later, or, tactics like that. But at the same time, you're mastering the gameplay. You're getting better at the game. That's the main thing that roguelikes force gamers to do, because they take away the save points and all the little crutches we have, all the little micro exploits that we have. They take that away. But back to the topic at hand, like I was saying about these PlayStation fanboys and how they think. It's like, now that established that they know what the actual truth is. They're mad at PlayStation fans who don't want to move over from the PS4, and they've been given less and less of a reason to. All the top games are still coming to PS4. It's hard to get a PS5, right?
Yeah.
And the only way they could get one, if money wasn't an issue, is to pay a scalper way too much money, and there's effectively no reason to really get one if all the best games are still coming to PS4. This is why PlayStation fans were mad about games being on both systems in the first place. They know what all this stuff implies, what Sony is doing. When they say that backwards compatibility, when Jim Ryan was talking crap about backwards compatibility, they went with that because they means that PlayStation owners had to move on from the PS4 onto the PS5. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they would always back these lanes of thought that would benefit the PS5 in the long run in terms of system sales and all of that, right? So, but the PlayStation, not all PlayStation fans care. Most PlayStation fans, whenever a system is dominant, like the 360 was and now the PS4 was last generation, right? That's not just the hardcore fans who prefer one platform or the other. In fact, most of them are just the gamers who are just going to buy one system and rock with that system until the system is no longer viable, right? And for last generation, that was the PS4, right? It just is what it is. Xbox fans who salty about that still Just get over it. That's what it was. We lost that generation, but we took that generation towards the second half, especially when Phil Spencer got in charge, to build up the situation for this generation. And we all see the proof in the pudding. We all know that as Xbox fans. We discuss that amongst ourselves. I don't need to sit here and break that down, right? That's what they did. But long story short, we lost last generation. We already know that. So in case you don't want to admit that to yourself, that's what it is. I will say it again. Xbox lost last generation. Sony won. Okay? But these PlayStation fans see the writing on the wall. The ones with brains see what's going on. But most gamers don't care. They just want to play whatever is the hot system. And the PS4, if they own a PS4 and don't have an Xbox or whatever, it's still viable to them. A lot of those dudes who are staying on the PS4 and are arguing with the PS5 guys, I bet you there's a good number of them are going to rock with the PS4 until that is no longer viable. And they might switch over to Xbox or with the Series S, maybe even. They might even wait till it drops down to $199. Because if these consoles are to believe, then Sony is to believe. And I do believe then, because that was the type of a statement you can't make without it being true, because that might come back to bite them legally, whatever. That jeez, I actually lost my point of thought on my train of thought with them. That that the PS5 is breaking even for them now, right? Yeah. So I can only imagine the Series S is doing the same thing, if not making a small, tiny profit. But basically, selling the Series S isn't costing Microsoft money at this point. They're just not talking about it. But I guarantee you what Microsoft will do is reinvest that into the price of the Series S. The Series S will be the first console this generation to drop in price. And those PS4 owners, all of those who are still on the PS4, I bet you a good chunk of them are going to leave, or Microsoft will time that price drop of the Series S just when the PS4 is no longer viable to get all those gamers. And that's why these PlayStation fanboys, the smart ones among them who see the actual facts, the writing on the wall, are trying to convince these guys to move on. Because it's true what you say. It is the civil war amongst the PlayStation community. I've noticed it. It's not so much a civil war. It's a debate between them now. But I see it getting worse and worse from what I've seen.
Yep. Well, like 100 says, I didn't lose nothing. I buy all the games.
That's right. Me too.
You know
I'm
what?
Just talking about Xbox lost the platform. They lost versus Sony in the competition. But we as Xbox gamers didn't lose a goddamn thing.
One of these nights, I need to have a show, but late at night, like 100, and see who falls asleep first on the camera. Oh, just like 100 then.
So, yo, listen.
He said he fell asleep one time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's our boy 100. But listen, yo, if you really want to do this, we'll get the beers. I'll be on camera. You'll be on camera. Whoever else wants to be down. 100, I don't know. If you want to be down, bro, we can do this. We could do this like Brutus, baby. I got the camera. Y'all got cameras. We could do this.
I'll bring a cooler up here full of ice and beer. I'll drink right here. Yo, what's up? Drink it up.
My new girl found this German grapefruit flavored beer. I think I showed it off last episode, maybe even, or last week or something like that. Yeah. I know it sounds real like childish or whatever, grapefruit flavored beer. I'm telling you, it's the freaking bomb. Grapefruit. That's what I'm gonna drink and that's what I'm gonna drink if we do it.
Yeah, we'll have to do it one night. We'll have to plan this out. That way we have nothing to do on like either Saturday morning or Sunday morning. Like there has to be no plans the next day because I don't want to wake up early like with a hangover. Uh-oh. Did we lose Sick?
No, I'm right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, 100 said I'm down. He's like, man, I'm down, man. I just put me on. Then. He's like, 100. Put me on camera. I got my big old bottle of liquor right here. Then he goes.
No, listen. If he starts sober, he's gonna win.
Yeah.
If he starts sober, he's gonna win. Now, I've been drunk one time where I was out of like where I where I fell asleep or whatnot, right? Like,
but 100 is a liquor drinker though, right?
Yeah,
he'll probably answer that, or is he a beer guy?
Yeah, he's a liquor guy, but would he do beer for the situation? 100 is an amenable dude. I mean, if that's what we were to agree to, I'm sure he'd be down. But yeah, I think he's predominantly a liquor guy. But yeah, like all I was saying is, like when I drink and I get drunk, I just feel like I'm slower. I think the same thoughts. I'm just super slow, right? I don't get drunk to a point where I pass out. I don't get to the point where I pass out. No, I don't even do that, but I'll talk slow. Like, I'll talk slower. I'm like, God damn, the world is, I am drunk right now. So I got to concentrate on what, like, I think the same thoughts. I don't think drunk thoughts. I don't think like a drunk moron and start thinking stupid things. I think the same things is super slow. So I don't think I'll be the one to fall asleep because I won't drink to the point where I start to fall asleep. I'm not that kind of drunk.
I will need to start setting up like a little stage here with some lights, with some strobe lights and some color lights. Make it like a club. I'm like, what's up, man?
Oh man.
I'll play my intro music on there too, like just looping. And so let's one last thing. Did you want to, I know you were excited about your Steam Deck, man.
Oh yeah.
So talk about that, man, because you got a lot to say about this thing.
Oh man. Well, dude. Okay, you didn't even know it was really because the PC in the Switch form factor.
No, I was aware that it had Steam OS on there, and you can wipe it out and put Windows on it if you wanted to, but not to the extent that I'm seeing here. Like,
okay, so you knew those two facts, but you didn't realize it's just a PC.
Yeah, basically. Like there's a video here somewhere.
You thought it was a special type of device, not a
like
PC
here,
device.
Like this, like right here in this video. Like this is the first time I'm seeing this part. Oh, and I was like, oh my god, they're using it as a computer.
it's very literally a PC, but SteamOS is a version of Linux. It's not coming with Windows, but they've already said if you want to put Windows up, you can. They already even have the Linux drivers already out. Already exist, right? And then they're gonna put out the Windows drivers, so you could put Windows. It's a PC, but okay, one of the first embargoes on information just broke yesterday, and a bunch of folks have gotten the hardware. Gamers Nexus, Linux Tech Tips, the Fox, who's a guy who who reviews these handhelds on like the INU and such. So they were able to show off games running. They were able to take it apart. Like Linus did a live what you call teardown. Gamers Nexus already had a teardown video yesterday, right? But Linus did his live, and the Fox did the videos. But basically, what they showed off was games running 5 or 6 games that Valve approved for them to show, and that's all they could show. The game they couldn't show the operating system and other things like that. But he was able to weigh it. Feel the controls, describe the controls. He had his wife try. She had some issues with the button. Some other people didn't have issues with the size. He and his wife have similar size hands, which they demonstrate on his video. So even on his own account, his hands are a little smaller. It was still comfortable for him. The weight was still good because it was evenly distributed. It performed much better than those other handhelds. Depending on the game, it performed well. But there were certain times where it didn't perform as well as the others, and it seems to imply that the system has some kind of smarts not to waste performance where it's not needed. Like in Dead Cells, it didn't perform as well as the other INEOs and stuff, because it gets to a point where you could increase the voltage to the CPUs and stuff, and it's like an increased performance, and you're just wasting battery power. Remember, it's a battery powered device.
What's up, KTJ?
So the Steam Deck has a lot of smarts in it already built in terms of being efficient with the battery life. But even then, there's options in there. We didn't see it, but they've confirmed this to us. Valve had independently confirmed it, and they've put it in the videos. But there'll be options where you could turn down what they call the TDP, so it uses less power, so the battery could last longer. You could put it into like a lower power mode if you want, right? And then they explain how long it would take to charge from dead, about 3 hours if the battery is completely dead, stuff like that. They did some heating tests to see that the cooling is working out really good. Other things like that, where they said the controls are really good. The speakers, Linus Tech Tips said there was a OnePlus, no, not the OnePlus, the One X, the HTC One X or something like that. It was that, and the new M1 Mac laptops were the only other two devices that impressed them with the sound like that. So apparently the Steam Deck has awesome sound for its size and the little, you know, speakers that it has. Apparently it sounds really good. I forget the phrase I remember the phrase that he used. He said the iNeo made noises. The Steam Deck made the sound stage or something like that. Like, really? It sounds that good? Oh, cool. But yeah, man, I'm real hyped to get it. But also, you know, for those of you who are worried about the price, like which model to get, well, apparently they did some, you know, some testing on the load times there with the SD cards. Apparently the SD cards are keeping up with the internal storage. So if you just want to get the cheapest base model, which is $399, and just put your games onto SD cards, it's looking like that's a viable option, and you're not missing out too much with that.
I'm curious if they have a minimum speed of those SD cards, because you know how
they do. Yeah, they do. What they suggest is you get the ones that has the 3 on number on it, like those SanDisk where they have that like 3 on it.
Yeah.
It's explained on the website. You know, you just gotta look for the certain logo. As long as you have that logo on your SD card, you'll be fine, right? Because the on the SD card slide isn't the fastest one that exists out there yet. Anyway, so you could buy an SD card that's faster than the slot that it'll be in. And so if the Steam Deck had one of the faster slots, it would run better. But either way, it's doing as good as the internal one does anyway.
That's good.
So yeah, so you know, eventually, they plan to get all the pre-orders out there and be able to sell it directly to people. And they said, you know, after this first group, when they start with the second group, and then after that, they want to start selling them in groups week to week. So with this new information about the performance of the SD cards, you know, I know a lot of people who are like, man, I'm just going to get the cheapest model. And that's a viable option now. Like the only other difference is if you were to get the high-end model, which I'm getting, where it has that anti-glare screen and the case is slightly better. But all 3 models come with a case. All 3 models perform the same otherwise. All 3 models use the same charger. Apparently, the charger is such that it's 75 watts. And if you use a higher wattage charger, it's not going to help anything. In fact, like the little circuit that controls the charging, like is maxed out on heat anyway. So it wouldn't be able to process that anyway, because it would overheat it way too much. It's hot enough as it is. So the 75 watt charger that comes out of the box, if you were to get a better one, it's not going to charge it any faster. It's already charging as fast as it can for the hardware and battery that it's got. So yeah, it's just looking like a great device. We got a lot more information. We already know in terms of emulation, in terms of power, if games like Control can run at 60 frames with some slight tweaks, but runs 30 frames out the box, right? Control can run 60 frames, obviously with ray tracing off, right? If Forza could run solid 30, right? Out of the box. Forza 5, that was one of the games that they showed off. Out of the box. Wait till the tweaks come in. Wait till these other games that aren't as hard on the hardware requirements. Think about all the emulation possibilities. You could emulate the Switch on this thing. Literally. You know? Wii U. Yeah, obviously the PlayStation, N64, and Super Nintendo, we've had, you could do that on a cheap, Android phone that's $50. We've been able to do that for years. But now we're in a new tier, or PS2, even PS3 and 360 emulation is starting to get real viable. And this hardware could do some of that too, some of the newer end stuff. The 3D arcade and hardware is out there, So this is, like they say, it's a PC, but it's in a great form factor. And for $399, for those of y'all who love to talk crap about gaming because of the cost and all that stuff, here's something that takes what's great about PC gaming and puts it in console style. I say that all the time about the Xbox, but the Steam Deck is also doing it in many of the same ways that Xbox do. It's not even running Windows. The operating system that's behind the scenes, you never truly have to see that. Yeah. Okay, what little we've seen of the operating system and the whole interface that they have there, it's just a console style interface that you use controls to mess with. Like for those people who want to try PC game, this might be the one, or a successor model. And at $399 with SD cards perform just about as well as the internal SSD.
Yeah,
bro, that just negates that whole price concern right there. This is a lot more viable now with that alone than I think a lot of people are willing to give credit for. So
when you getting yours again?
I'm in the day one group. So supposedly they're gonna be able to charge me the 25th. I might have it within
so by the end of the month?
The 28th. On the 28th is a Monday. I might have it that Monday. Who knows? I think they're taking money on the 25th because that's when the embargo is going to end as well. So Linus and everybody else who have their hardware, then they can reveal everything about it. At the same time, they're taking my money and mine should be on my way. So I'll be in that first group. PK.
Oh, this thing has RDNA too, man.
Yeah, that's RDNA too. That's why it's killing all the other ones. Because like the Ion Neo, right, has an 8-core processor, but it's on the Vega graphics. It's not even RDNA 1. It's Vega graphics. All these other devices are on Vega or like Intel.
More next gen than
that's why it's
some other platforms that I know.
Exactly. That's yes, it is. Okay, I'll put it to you like this. Yeah. So the Series S has 52 compute units, right? Mm-hmm. The Series S has 20. This has 8. It's basically a handheld Xbox in terms of the hardware. It's an AMD chip that's RDNA 2 and it runs at 800p, and the hardware is cut down appropriately, right? In comparison to the Xbox, Series S and Series X. That's exactly the way you can look at it. It really is doing what it needs to do.
Oh, here you go. Here's the prices. $399. You get the carrying case, $529 faster storage with the carrying case and some kind of profile bundle.
Yeah.
And then the $649. You gained the $649, you said?
Yep.
Man. Yeah. It's a lot of cheddar, man.
Yeah, but I've been looking for something like this for a long time. In fact, like you could ask PK Live or Clowns, whatever. I was following the APUs that AMD has been making for years because I knew eventually they're gonna get to this point, and that point.
So is this what the Shield should have been?
The Shield? I mean the NVIDIA Shield?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the handheld? Well, the NVIDIA Shield handheld at its time was this for its time, but that was Android. This is PC hardware. Yeah. But that's the thing about the chip that's in here. They have RDNA 2 graphics because for a long time, all they had was Vega graphics. Nothing ever even used RDNA 1. Eventually, they had Zen chips, right? Yeah. And even before then, it was some low-end Athlons or whatever attached to, I forget what was on prior to Vega. I forget the name now. But AMD always had APUs where it was a chip with CPU and graphics. And because they have access to both, I was always waiting on a handheld that had a certain level of performance. That's the reason I'm most excited about the Steam Deck. It passes that line of what I needed. RDNA 2 solves a lot of things. There's a lot of things that's prerequisite that this has because it's RDNA 2. I don't have to worry about it anymore. It passes a bare minimum that I want. This is past the bare minimum I needed. It does everything plus a little more. Yeah. So this was something I've been waiting on. It's better than the Ion Neos and all the GPD win that's been out the past couple of years. This passes the line. And the great thing about it is eventually GPD as well as I are going to have chips that are better than what's in the Steam Deck. And the Steam OS is free. So eventually later versions of those hardwares, will be out with a chip that's just like what's in the Steam Deck, if not better, right? So you can get that and not get a Steam Deck. So there'll be options in the future. And you won't even have to put Windows on it if you don't want to. If SteamOS really kicks off, SteamOS is free. I guarantee you the open source community will make sure that that operating system is optimized for upcoming handhelds and the handhelds we have today.
Yeah.
Within a day of the release of SteamOS, the Ion Neo and GPD handhelds will have custom versions tweaked for that hardware that will make you be able to use. It's not going to perform as well as the Steam Deck, but essentially you'll have Steam Deck like performance and use cases out of hardware that's already out today for free. So this is good for everybody, even if you're not buying a Steam Deck.
Yeah, maybe one day once they have it available, maybe I'll look into it. I don't travel enough. Like when I bought the Switch, I traveled a lot. Now I don't travel a lot because of the whole lockdown.
Right.
And even now when things are lighting up, our office, our remote office, they're all working from home now. So there's really no point of me going. So something like this would have been perfect because I would have just laid out in the hotel room and popped this thing open and like, all right, let's get to playing.
Yeah, and it's anything, and it's anything and everything I could be playing.
Yeah. I mean, I got Steam games. I got my Xbox. This would have been perfect. My Xbox game and Steam games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I just want to mention again, I'm doing a live unboxing.
Say it.
Initial setup, and and I'll be playing a couple of games. And if I don't have games that people want to see, so DM me on Twitter or just tweet at me on Xbox Live. I'm a SIKSLAYER on everything. So if you see that name, that's me. Okay, you can message me in any kind of way about what game you want me to test, and if I have the game, I'll try it. And if enough people ask for a certain game I don't have, I'll probably just buy the game. So just let me know what you guys want to test. I'll be doing it live on stream. So I'll have further information when that time comes, when I find out the ship date and whatnot. And then we'll be doing that.
There's 6th channel right there, RD 1979.
Yep. You put that, and then you'll be able to find my name. I've had that channel. So apparently I have content on there that's 12 years old.
Oh, you got, well, it says here 2 months ago. So you put something about a plane crash.
Oh yeah, it was a clip from Project Wingman. I talk about that game all the time. And the airships, like when you blow them up, they don't just blow up in the air; they crash down all the way down. If you're paying attention, you'll watch it.
Oh my god, you do have a thing that's 12 years old.
Yeah. So it's funny too, because Lemon, I think was it not the last episode, but the episode before, maybe on the Dragon's Den, he was like, "But you're not a content creator. You don't even, or you're just starting out your YouTube channel. You don't even have content." I'm like, dude, and then I clap back with, dude, I've got content longer than you. That's older than yours. So I'm like, oh crap. And I just realized that because I'm like, wait a minute. I know I got videos only now. I thought they were like 8 years old, but I looked, they were 12. I'm like, holy shit.
What's my oldest? I don't think mine's that old. Let's see.
But I'm no content creator, man. I'm just a gamer out here, man. I love talking games. 100 was always advocating for me to start a channel. I had the channel, but there is a couple of things I do want to do. So, shout out to 100, man.
Mine's 9 years
to really push for that.
Mine's a 9-year-old video, and it was with the Kinect and Kinect Sports. Here, I'll put it on here. This is too funny. And this is when my oldest was only. This is 2000. He was like a year old.
Wow.
So let's see. Let's play this here real quick before we end the show. I won't play the music. It has some goofy music on there.
Oh yeah.
But look,
and Nintendo. Oh wow, that's him when he was a year old. Wow,
yeah.
Look at you. Dude, you were so much thinner.
Well, I was sick. I was kind of sick then.
Oh.
Yeah. So I lost a lot of weight during that time. I wasn't supposed to weigh that much.
Oh wow.
Because of the diabetes.
I
think that was around the time when I started taking some medicine. And the medicine that they gave me made me lose a lot of weight. It caused me to lose my appetite. And so I wouldn't eat much. And I thought, oh, awesome. Because I was going to the gym and going to classes, like, man, this stuff is really working. Right. And so with the combination of the gym with the medicine they gave me, where I didn't eat that much anymore, I was losing a lot of weight fast. And so I went from like 230 to 160.
Wow.
Like in a matter of months.
I'm 230 right now. Like I'm 239. And the same as Homer Simpson. I always love to joke, right? That I weigh the same as Homer Simpson. But nowadays I'm like 10 pounds lighter. But I was lighter. Like I was trying to lose weight. You weren't. Well, you were working out.
I wasn't.
Stuff, but...
Yeah, I wasn't trying to lose weight. I just, but yeah, it shows in my arms by itself. Look how skinny they are, and the medicine with the gym, it just was it was a bad combination because I have one picture of myself during that time and my face just looked just completely different. It was like, it didn't look right. It didn't look healthy. And it got to the point where I think my insurance didn't support that medication anymore. So I had to get off it. And then I started gaining weight again, but it was like more of a healthy weight than you know, than anything else. Because I was just way too skinny there in that video there. And it's not like I was in shape or anything. It's just like I just lost weight. You know, it's just like, you know, it was just gone.
It's the same thing that happened to me when I was losing weight. Like I just
but one more thing,
not eating as much. But yeah, that's what we're doing.
It just shows you how sucky the Kinect camera was. The first one, that's a 360 one.
Wow. You know, the 360 camera, I used to use that as a neck. I still have it because, you know, if you just plug it into your PC, like Windows will automatically find the drivers and stuff and it'll just work. And I used to use it as a neck. I still have it. I saw it in the box the other day. And at the earliest point when I hopped on YouTube and I started doing this whole podcasting thing, I was thinking about using it. I was like, these other cameras are just like $60. I'll get one. I never got around to it. And then I went to get a Brio, you know, the 4K Brio.
Yeah.
But early on when it was brand new, I put it on my Amazon wish list. This is when it first came out. This is before I was even around. You know, I wasn't even in the chats and stuff. But I put in it was $199 back, and I heard a lot of bad reviews. But now, years later, everybody, like last week, I was seeing a tweet by who was that? From Grown Women Gaming, who was tweeting about it. And she put a picture, like this camera's neck cameras, and this is like a week after I got the camera that I have now. I'm like, God damn it, I should have gotten the Brio. Because all of a sudden everybody was, Spartacus puts this post up and now everybody's like agreeing. Like, what the heck were you assholes, years ago when this thing was brand new and I wanted to buy one to say it was great and everybody was saying it was bad. But oh well.
Here's my older one. When he was a little kid, he was 3 years old.
Wow.
And he was playing Forza. And I was telling, he's getting mad here because I told him it's time to go home. He's like, no.
And you didn't have Xbox One at that point?
I did have it, but that's
so you could have just told him, hey, we'll play it at home.
He still got mad because he's playing Forza. He wants to play.
Man. They don't care. He just wants to play, but we can play at home.
But like, it's like
a long time.
It's like, I need you to put up the controller, and then he'll put the controller back because all the kids leave it on the floor.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, he puts it back on a little rack. It's like, okay, I guess I'll put it back. Like, there he goes, right there.
Yeah, because you were leaving. Yeah. So you're walking away. He's like, wait, what's he doing?
He's trying to take the other one. So there you go. So, all right. He's like, let's go. One thing I love about the YouTube stuff is that it keeps the videos go nowhere. And I can show my son years later, look at you. It's like,
so you know what's going to happen one day? One day, he's going to go on the computer, use your account and delete it. Just because he doesn't like seeing it, so you better save the file.
Yeah, I know. It's just I think about that stuff now already. It's like, man, I gotta keep record of all the digital stuff I got. So if anything happens, they have access to everything I have, man. Because all this would just stay in limbo and be lost forever, So, but man, it was good talk, man. I think we've gone long enough because me, I don't like staying on too long.
Right,
but no, it was good. It was good, interesting. I learned some stuff about the Steam Deck. I didn't know about it. So it's good to know. Maybe one day I'll buy one if I'm in the market for it.
Yeah, you might get a different handheld by that point.
Yeah.
Like I was saying. The Steam Deck just makes it that the other handhelds will be much better for no money out of your pocket. So, or anybody's pocket. So, it's good for everyone. I think what the Steam Deck is doing will be beneficial to everyone.
Yep. So everybody else who hung out this long, thank you very much. And guess we're out of here. Just to play a little.